let's talk about the technology piece. Technology and technology stack. It's always the big question. Which technology should I pick? Free versus paid, and what is the best tool? Outside Guild, of course, but it is. It's not because of you here, but I have to say Guild is a very, very strong platform for the use that I've been doing it and from the benefit that I've been getting it. But what about the technology? Best technology, what to pick, how to go about it?
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I think we should acknowledge that this isn't easy. But particularly now, of course, with accelerated digital transformation due to coronavirus, all businesses are to some degree technology businesses now, and you need to get used to digital and data. And obviously, event businesses have had to pivot to virtual events, and so a lot of the Creo group, it's talking about the different platforms and the different options. And not only is that sort of new and confusing, but the event. Well, so if you take event tech platforms, they themselves are changing every week. A lot of them are raising loads of money. They promise things, they are building things, they're buying things. They're asking themselves, well, should we stick to virtual events or should we grow into a full membership platform? Should we add on e-learning? Because people are looking at e-courses and e-learning. Meanwhile, those platforms are doing the reverse and going, hang on a sec, virtual events is growing, let's add on an event tech module. And in between, there's the poor old event organizer client going, where on earth do I go with all this? And it's, there isn't necessarily a definite answer. Having agile ways of working means it's easier to change. And if you're smart with your data, you make it more portable. You can, change platforms a bit more easily than you could in the past. And you can use APIs to kind of smartly wire things up. I mean, ideally, you need a good technical, agency or support like you guys, or smart internal tech and data people. But there is, I don't know if you want to bring up that slide I sent with you, and this is almost a sort of thought piece, and I'd be interested to get feedback from the listeners on this, because I don't think there's a definitive answer, but this one, okay. So I was thinking through here, all the component pieces. So like if you were doing community, or more than that, if you had a lot of businesses looking at membership or subscription type models at the moment, because it can be purely digital because it's a recurring revenue stream, unlike events or lots of parts of events. So I was just here thinking, what could the component parts of a tech stack for a membership or subscription model be? And at kind of the bottom, you got CRM, and that might be part of that core member platform, and it could even be separate. Like I know, obviously, you guys do a lot with HubSpot and the Salesforce and things. Sometimes you might want the core CRM to be separate, actually, to the membership platform. But in a typical kind of member platform, you've got all of those other things. You've got, member access management, payments, directory, content management, largely speaking. Then you've got along the top there, event tech, community tech, which obviously where Guild would sit, ed tech, and what I've called custom tech. So a custom tech is just like bespoke apps and things that you might build. Ed tech is all the e-learning, e-courses, accreditation, community, things like Guild. Event tech, obviously, things like Zoom and Hopin and whatnot. And so the architectural question, I think, which is important to think through, is based on your business model and your budgets and your roadmap and all sorts of stuff. How are you going to wire this stuff up? And should you believe that there's an all-in-one platform that can do all of this for you? Because I'm telling you, there isn't. There isn't even one for event tech, let alone all of this other stuff. But you might go, well, this platform does enough of events that it kind of suits what we do. Or if we're event-led business, it's got to be really strong in event tech, and then we can wire up a WordPress site or something to do enough of the content. But I suppose again, from a Guild point of view and why I put community tech separately, a lot of these membership platforms would argue that we do community, and they do, but they just do it badly. Just like ed tech, they'll go, yeah, we've got an e-courses module, and you go, you have, but it's not as good as Learnably or whatever other ed tech. And same, we talked about events. Not many of these platforms do event tech really well, and we've seen even how hard that is, and Zoom's done incredibly well, obviously. So yeah, I'd be, you know, really interested in feedback, and obviously, Ricardo, your thoughts on this. But, and I say it is difficult, and it's fast changing and fast moving, and even these platforms are extending themselves up and across and down this stack. But I'd say these, I mean, interested to know if there are any elements people think are missing from this, but to me, these are the kind of component parts architecturally that you're having to play with, and what you're having to decide is, you know, which pieces are separate, and if they're separate, how important is it that they are integrated via single sign-on, APIs, batch processing, blah blah blah, or not, or does it not matter?
Yeah, I wanted to add on to the technology element is that what I clearly see, certainly the way that I advise people that I work with or I have conversations with, is that there's it's kind of two sides of things. So generally, what I've seen is that when you're having a community that is top of the funnel, awareness community, etc., generally you will have access to a lot of free tools, the LinkedIn, the link, you know, all that, Facebooks and all that sort of stuff, which allows you to spend a lot of money to try to get attention, but that has its downside. But I think and that goes back to having clarity as to what the purpose of your community is, or what do you really want to serve. So, but generally, I would say, I mean, I'm overly generalizing, not understanding context of organizations, but I say top of the funnel is generally you can benefit a lot from whatever is free, because it gets you, basically, you at a flick of a button, you're on, right? There are, when you have bottom of the funnel customer communities, or communities that start to be built around an event or post event for the peer-to-peer communications, then you benefit more for what I call the owned community. And that's where the technology that is available, you know, the Zapnitos, the guilds, the, you know, lots of other tools that exist out there that also have a free model that allows organizations to start growing. And then as you progress and as you grow, you could start. So almost you have almost like a quick switch on that. The benefit of having an owned, to me, an owned tool, or where you have 100% control of the community, is that you can plug in that either your CRM, as you highlighted. And I think more so when companies decide to go for owned communities and one tech rather than a full stack of functionality within the same tech, I would say more is, how does this piece of technology interoperate or integrates with what I have? Yeah, because you have a tech stack already, generally on the basis of a CRM predominantly, or a marketing automation platform. The ideal scenario is that you plug stuff in. Why? Because now the new tendency is that your sponsors, in terms of monetizing, you're going to be talking about the context. Okay, Ashley attended this event, came to these 5 webinars for more than 50 minutes, but also these are the discussions that he's been participating in, and we can derive that there is a level of interest from his side on certain things. Without that API integration, and how does that relate, that you have nothing to sell.